could not stay there. He didn't give us back nothing. But I had a cousin, and he had a house, so I stayed with him there. But then we had to eat. There was nothing to eat. I mean, we had nothing, okay? What you had on your back. So how did I make a living? We took cigarettes, went to Hungary, sold, and brought back bread. And that's how I lived after the war. Yeah, and one day when I was in Budapest, a guy comes to me, he says, Helen, do you know that I was with your brother all the time until the last minute? So I was afraid to ask, where is he now? I said, what happened to him? He says, he's here. And I saw him. I didn't recognize him. He looked great. I said, what happened to you? He says, I'm free for 2 months, and we were with the English. And they put him in quarantine, and fed them, and clothed them, and everything. And he says to me, you know that one of my youngest brother, that was my older brother, and I have a younger, he was 16 years old when he went to Auschwitz. And in Auschwitz, 2 brothers were there, and I saw them. They had the men had striped clothes, you know, and a hat, and they looked so cute. And we could not talk, just from far away. I say, do you know where Daddy is? Do you know where my father is? And he says, yes, he's okay because he went with the older people. But I didn't know that time that what happened to the older people. So that's the last time I saw my 2 brothers, because they took them away. So when I met my older brother in Budapest, so he says, do you know that Misha, our younger brother, the 16-year-old, is here? I said, where? He's in the hospital. He was running away, and he got shot in his knee, so he's in the hospital. I said, what happened to the older brother? They were all together. He says, don't ask what happened to him. So I know something bad happened, and he didn't come home. But he did come home, my younger brother, and I said, I don't want to stay there in that place. That was already after the camp. And if after the Auschwitz, it was not, we didn't have a picnic either. So I said to him, yeah, he's in the he's in hospital, and then he went out from the hospital. I got married, and I went to Czechoslovakia. I didn't want to, I said, I never want to see this place again. I went there, and the boys came to us, and we were okay. My husband was in the foreign, he was in the Czech army. You know, during the war, they organized a Czech army. He was an officer in the army, and it was okay. And then the borders were sort of open. They come and went and back and forth. And one day they closed, and they closed the borders. They were in Russia. There was strictly Russia then. And my younger brother, you know, they were hungry too. There was no bread. He probably stole something. They put him in jail. And then he disappeared. And I always ask my older brother, do you know about him? He says, no. The rumors were that he was in jail, he escaped, he was on a boat, and he drowned, things like that. He says, I don't know nothing about him. And I did go to Russia with my husband. He couldn't find out nothing because it was the Iron Curtains. It was in Russia, that was it. Finished. And what can I tell you? It went on 30 years. After 30 years, somebody calls me from New York. I didn't want to talk to him. My husband talked to him. He says, you know that Helen's brother is alive? I said, I didn't want to put up hopes because, you know, I didn't want to be disappointed again. He says, no, you know where he is? He went to my hometown because he thought that my older brother is there to say goodbye to him because he goes to Israel. In the meantime, my older brother was in Israel already.
Wow.
So he went there. And he went to Israel, and then I went to see him. So.
Where in Israel did he live?
Pardon?
Where in Israel did he live?
Ashdod.
Ashdod. We were there.
Ashdod.
Yeah, we were there.
Yeah.
Ashdod. Is that close to the Red Sea or is it north? I don't remember.
It's
It's a port city. I think it's close to the Red Sea.
Yeah, that's
no,
where we.
it's not close to that.
It's middle south. It's towards the south.
Yeah.
We were there a few times, and he came there with a wife and 4 children, and he was the king between them because he was different. He was white, and the Gruzin. They were
Soviet
all,
Georgia. He had disappeared to Soviet Georgia.
Ah,
yes.
your brother.
Yeah. Wow.
Pardon?
Your brother went to Soviet Georgia and then to Israel.
Yes.
He was in jail. The Russians locked him up because he stole something, probably a piece of bread. And when he was in jail, nobody knew about him. He got probably 10 years in jail for that. But there was a guy from Georgia. He was there, whatever, in jail, and he got free. And then, for good behavior, my brother got free. So he took him with him. He went home to Georgia. But nobody, very few people survived that walk, you know, because they gave them a piece of bread and go. And there were animals, wild animals. It was Siberia. So he knew how to maneuver and how to get home. And he took my brother with him. And he married his sister. Yeah, we didn't know all that. And when we heard that he came to Israel, so me and my husband went to Israel. So we met him there. But you see, my brother who was in Israel, he was so hurt. He was so, how did he never let know what happened to him? But he couldn't. He was in Russia. You could not communicate. You could not write. You could nothing. And you know, and we were there, and it was really, really something. But to the end, he was sick. And my daughter got married, and I took him out to the wedding and everything, but he was sick, and he died. He was, and we kept in touch with the family. I was going there almost every year, every 2 years to Israel, but he passed away. And that was the end, and I'm still, I don't know, thinking about it, and it's still see my sisters and my family and everybody. So that was my life story. You know, you cannot say it in 1 hour what you lived
No.
through so many years. But that was it. And then I came to Canada, which it was very hard. You know, after the war we settled in a little town in Czechoslovakia, and my son was born. He was 3 years old when I came to Canada. We could not get in Montreal a room. I said, child? No children, no children. I said, that kid was the first Jewish kid born in that city. And everybody was, wow. And I come here and says, no children, no children.
Wow.
So that was it. So I don't know if you understood what I was talking or
Yes.
not. Yeah. But if you want to ask me any questions.
I know you guys have heard me say this a few times, but the reason why this is so important is that there is going to come a time in your lifetime, in our lifetime, where we are not going to be able to hear a first-hand account of what happened during World War II. This is an honor that we all have to get to hear this story, and so if Mrs. Katz has graciously volunteered to open up her life, and if you have any questions, I've asked her, and she's willing to take questions now. You may not get another chance. So if you want to know anything, now's the time to ask.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I wanted to thank you for sharing. Wow. Thank you for opening up your heart and sharing with us. Nobody should have to live through that. So, just the fact that you're able to talk about it is amazing. You were saying when you were young in the concentration camps that they gave you, they put powder in the food so that the girls didn't have their menstrual cycle?
A little bit closer.
In the kitchen in the camp, when they put the powder in the food, so the girls shouldn't have their menstrual. And the question is?
Why?
Yeah, they put powder in the food
Yes.
and the girls couldn't menstruate? So they just fed that to the girls? Or the powder was just in the food?
Just in the food.
So the boys ate it too, and it was a special...
But there was no boys.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it was just girls in the camp.
That camp was 20,000, only women.
Okay.
That was, men were somewhere else, in other camps. There was a gypsy camp, there was only gypsies.
Okay.
And there was only girls. And
So that was a form of birth control they had back then, that they knew about. Because obviously if you can't menstruate, so...
It's a problem, you know, you didn't have where to wash, you didn't have
Right.
where to
I didn't
change
even
or
know it
anything.
existed back then. Like,
Pardon?
I didn't know that type of stuff existed back then.
Well, nobody knew it, but the Germans knew it, they were very
Okay.
smart. They knew it.
So you have how many brothers and sisters?
We were 7.
And did they all make it to, no, I didn't quite understand. All
Two brothers made it.
The 9, the 7, and the 4-year-old were brought to the crematorium.
So you probably didn't hear me back there, but when I was saying how nobody should have had to live through what you all lived through, and thank you for sharing and taking the time to talk about it. I don't even know how you talk about it. I can't even listen to it. So thank you for sharing.
It was not easy, it was, like I said to Robert, you know, if I wouldn't be there, a lot of people don't believe it, yeah. By the way, here is my proof.
Take a picture.
That
clean.